So we brought in, so we had a manager, which was actually one of my kids who was in training our flagship store, our training store. And so he was there training on the systems, the processes, the product, about a month before the acquisition was actually complete. Because we knew it was kind of a dumpster fire going into it. I mean, obviously we learned a ton through it, but we knew like we needed to be prepared.
Yeah.
And so with that, then we instilled our manager who was up to date on our processes and systems. We ended up getting rid of half the staff in that store and bringing in new staff just because they were never going to align. And we recognized that early on. It's like, okay, the one or two that want to get on board, let's take them with us and get them up to speed. And then we'll just bring in new people because it's going to be an easier transition.
Yeah.
And then our core stores supported them, right? So we had leaders. Our operations manager went and spent a couple of weeks there getting inventory straightened out, and being kind of the more senior person, understanding the processes and stuff. Having him on site was a tremendous help. But then we also had the teams, at the core part of the business that were supporting and communicating and providing the things that the new team needed in order to kind of be successful and integrate. So.
Okay. And so how long did that process take to kind of like turn around that place?
Yeah, it took us probably 3 months to get to a point where we'd say it was fully stabilized. I would say after a few weeks, we're at a point where the operations manager could kind of pull back and go back to their normal duties, and they could maintain on their own, at least with just, digital communication and some interaction that way or some intervention that way. But it probably took us 90 days to get to a point where inventory levels were stable and the team was trained to where they needed to be, and they were qualified. And the new manager, having their feet underneath of them and understanding what.
And and how long did it take to be profitable?
We were probably that same time frame, right? The sales were pretty
Okay.
good. It was really just getting the inventory in and out of the building in a timely fashion. We had to change some margins, on some of the bigger ticket items that we sold that the old owner was underselling. We cut labor hours way back. You had too many people in there, had too much inventory, had too much recycle, just too much of everything. And so we trimmed all of that back and trimmed labor hours back and got to a point pretty quickly where we were profitable. And also with our buying power, we get pretty steep discounts even at a 4-store level. And so we were able to knock about 6 or 8% off of the margin versus what the 1-store operator was purchasing at. So.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. That's fascinating. So less labor, less inventory, move things faster, and then negotiate a better pricing, and then price your product better, a little bit better, fix the pricing. I'm surprised because I would think the franchise would set the retail price on those things.
They do
Okay.
set them, but people, if you don't choose, I mean, we have the autonomy to override that, right? So, I mean, their local market dynamics dictate a lot of things, right? And so if you're savvy, and you're paying attention to those things, you probably want to pull those levers. But if you're not, you probably just want to follow the guidance of the franchise, right? And that a lot of, how this goes, a lot of self-employed and entrepreneurs, we think we're smarter than everybody else. And so we try to do everything ourselves. But, we're not smarter than a 120-person army at the corporate office that has specialty niches and operates 100 stores. And that was the thing that I got over real quick. Like, I didn't want to be the expert. I wanted to leverage the partnership.